Today, the red and gold tide woke up different. There's movement behind the scenes, a return taking shape on the horizon, and an explosive possibility that could rewire our offense. There's also a public nudge about timelines, a message between the lines, and a trade target practically begging for a new home. Breathe. Hold the hype. Every piece of this puzzle connects at the end. So let me ask you, do you trust this front office to be aggressive right now? Because the window is open. You won't believe what we've got today. So sit down, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. You know that moment when opportunity knocks and you have to choose between reacting and leading? That's exactly where the 49ers are standing. A perfect target for our passing game just cracked the window open, and if the whispers are true, wants to jump through it now. It only gets more urgent when you remember how our receiver room has had to jury-rig solutions for weeks with improvised rotations and guys playing through the red zone of the pain scale. The picture changes completely if a player arrives who can attack short zones with real IQ, move the chains on third down, and take heat off the quarterback. The name that fits like a glove, Jakobi Meyers. The Raiders' wideout isn't hiding it anymore. He asked for a trade before the season, didn't get it, and now, with Las Vegas spinning its wheels, reiterated publicly that he wants out. Experience, reliable hands, spacing feel, steady production, that's the package. In San Francisco, where we went games without Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing, and with Kendrick Bourne and Jawan Jennings carrying the load even while banged up, Meyers becomes the bridge between survival and dominance. He's the receiver who wins with technique, separates in the details, and gives you a safety valve inside the rhythm of the play-action game. Here are the numbers to back it up. This season, he's at 29 catches for 329 yards in 6 games. Last year, he topped 1,000 yards for the first time and kept a 4-year streak of 800-plus receiving yards alive. That's not hype, it's consistency. In Shanahan land, consistency turns into explosive efficiency because the scheme manufactures separation by design. Add pre-snap motion, force the secondary to swap responsibilities, and create hook-curl conflicts. With McCaffrey threatening the flat and Kittle stretching the seam when healthy, Meyers finds clean windows for slants, digs, and option routes. The result is chains moving, clock control, and a defense gasping late in the fourth. What about the price? With free agency approaching, it doesn't have to be prohibitive. A reasonable middle ground, a mid-round pick, some production-based escalators, and a compact contract tweak points the front office in the right direction without choking the future. Fans are already sending the message and demanding an aggressive stance in the comments. Stop waiting for the market to pick us. We pick the market, I'm with them. When a receiver with this profile asks for a lane, you don't close the door, you grab the pen, hit the gas, and put the NFC on notice. If the window is short, the ambition has to be long. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. When a team adds real backfield depth, 2 things happen. Play action becomes venomous, and defenses start guessing wrong. That's exactly what the front office targeted by bringing in Brian Robinson in a deal with Washington, a surgical move that saves wear on McCaffrey's body and hands Shanahan a way to punish between the tackles without sacrificing the outside zone identity. Now, if the goal is to turn good into inevitable, there's one target who changes the math: Breece Hall. It's not just raw talent, it's first-gear explosion, patient vision in outside zone, and most importantly, receiving chops to punish linebackers on angle routes. In a market where the Jets have face-planted and are under pressure to make moves, picking up the phone is a matter of time. Picture this: base 12 personnel, Kittle aligned as a wing, a short motion by Pearsall forcing the defense to bump, McCaffrey threatens the flat, Hall hits the B-gap on a counter with a pulling guard. Pick your poison. On 3rd and short, Hall doubles as insurance. A check down that turns into 7, 8, 12 yards. And there's more. Beyond the immediate boost, Hall's contract structure creates room to gamble without handcuffing 2026. If there's no extension, the compensatory pick formula kicks in and softens the opportunity cost. The debate is hot in the community. Some argue we already have Robinson, invest in edge, but the fans who love seeing us dictate tempo have a simple answer. Owning the clock in January is as much defense as it is offense. With Purdy and Max splitting duties while quarterback one's toe still demands caution, having 2 starting caliber backs in the same huddle ruins defensive game plans and nights of sleep. League chatter already has Hall among the most watched names before the deadline, with multiple contenders monitoring. That bumps the price, sure, but it also speeds up decisions. If Lynch pulls the trigger with snap yardage-based protections and conditional picks, you can guard the future and turbocharge the present. Now imagine Levi's in January. Wind cutting, a fistfight of a game, defense is gassing. 2 body blows per drive, ruthless play action, Kittle free down the seam, Aiyuk finding rhythm at the perfect time. The picture changes color. The NFC doesn't forgive hesitation. When the window cracks open, you walk through it. And while we visualize this two-headed backfield, take a breath, because the next chapter is the countdown on our QB1 and the between-the-lines message that lit up the locker room. While we're buzzing about that, there's another storyline that blends relief with red flags. Brock Purdy is on the field in uniform, but the internal clock is ticking. The toe injury, yes, a turf toe variant, hasn't followed the ideal script, and even Kyle Shanahan admitted it's different dealing with a toe, but I'd say it's getting a little better every week. On Wednesday, Purdy was a limited participant. Translation, warm-ups, and individual periods, but no 11-on-11. Here's why that matters. This type of injury messes with your plant foot, your drive leg, your confidence in the throwing motion. For a quarterback who relies on quick pocket movement, there's a razor-thin line between ready and risking something worse. GM John Lynch said they're getting closer, emphasized it's a feel thing, and that setting a hard timeline is tough because it depends on how Brock actually feels. That creates mixed vibes in the fan base. Relief, because the arrow seems to point up. Tension, because what if he's not truly 100%? Imagine going into a playoff push with your quarterback worried about pushing off. From a strategy angle, Mac Jones has done a competent job. Clean plays, the call sheet executed, the machine kept humming, but this offense is sculpted around Purdy, motion, play action, and keepers that rely on his read and drive mechanics. When the real leader returns, the scheme scales. If he returns with limitations, you lose layers. That affects 1, how fast defenses can trigger, 2, turnover risk from altered mechanics, and 3, the stamina of an offensive line already juggling absences. Fans, myself included, are hyped for when Brock gets back, but we also preach patience. Better tomorrow at 100% than today at 90% with a playoff setback should be the mantra. The schedule tightens, the clock runs, and the division rivals won't wait. The moment of truth is coming. If Purdy returns fully himself, the attack recalibrates, vertical threatens, and dictates rhythm. If he's rushed or limited, the risk spreads everywhere. The front office has to balance ambition with realism. My hope? He comes back ready to be the difference. As the Purdy drama ticks toward a decision, another arc is gaining steam and lighting a real spark in the fan base. The dual return that could reconfigure the offense in the coming weeks. John Lynch, choosing his words carefully, told KNBR that both Brock Purdy and Brandon Aiyuk are getting closer. What stood out was the tone. No rigid dates, no empty optimism. He talked about feel, about listening to the player's body. This approach, different from the past when San Francisco rushed timelines, signals a more mature medical posture and real trust in the athlete. When he says, the athlete knows how he feels and Brock only plays one way, it's a subtle message. Shanahan doesn't want a quarterback afraid to move. Purdy needs to be ready to improvise, evade pressure, and use his legs as an extension of his reads. Any limitation changes the offense's identity. That's why every practice matters. The baseline is simple. No, 13 only returns when he can be himself. And honestly, that's music to our ears. We'd rather wait 2 more weeks than watch him limp into December. The other half is Aiyuk. It's been about a year since the knee injury and the updates are promising. Lynch was direct. There's evidence, not just hope. That's massive. The wideout is stacking days, showing lateral pop and confidence in his cuts. Shanahan even floated Week 10 as a possible inflection point. Picture what that means. A healthy Purdy, Aiyuk back next to Kittle, Pearsall maturing, McCaffrey getting help in the backfield, and if the Meyers rumor materializes, the offense becomes an orchestra. Lynch and Shanahan know you can't force it, but you also can't wait forever. It's a fine balance. Yet there's a different vibe in the air. The GM repeated encouraged multiple times, and when someone like him repeats a word, it means the arrow's moving. The truth is, this team seems to be calibrating every step, rebuilding health, scanning the market, and keeping the locker room tight. The energy is all about a reboot. When both return, will that be the spark we've been waiting for? Because if Purdy and Aiyuk come back together, the entire NFC will need to redraw its map. That, my friends, might be the spark for the sprint to January. Put all the pieces together and the picture is clear. Smart aggression now amplifies January. Meyers gives you the first downs we've missed. Hall turns possession into a double-edged blade. A healthy Purdy puts play action back in turbo mode, and Aiyuk restores the explosive strike on the perimeter. That shifts the locker room mood, the clock management, and the way opponents defend our heavy personnel. Here's the question. Do you sacrifice picks to get rolling now, or do you wait and trust recovery? Tell me in the comments, drop a like, subscribe, and share with the Red and Gold faithful right now.